Hi viewers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is HP Fashions GUI. In today's tutorials, we learn on how to cut and sew a structured tulip puffy sleeve. Okay, so if this is your first time of turning to my YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. So at this point, I'll be marking 4.5 inches from my pattern for the upper part, 4.5. Then I will connect. Okay, then after marking the 4.5, I'll be taking my sleeve length at this point, sleeve length of 12 inches. Then I'll leave the half under for seam allowance. Okay, so at the end I'm using 12.5 for the sleeve, but the main length is actually 12 inches. The allowance under is for seam allowance. This is the full length of my sleeve. So at this point now, I'll be taking a sleeve wideness, around sleeve of 6 inches. Then I'll add up 1 inch for seam allowance, 7 inches. So I'll be using 7 inches. Okay, so on the upper side I'm using 7.5 on the upper side. Then the downside I'll be making do of minus half inch on the downside. Then behind it is 5.2 inches. So at this point now, I'll connect this point to the 4.5. Then I'll also connect this end to this. Okay, all right, so it all depends on the round sleeve measurement you're making do of. My main round sleeve measurement is 11 inches. Is 11 inches, yes. So that's my main sleeve measurement. Okay, so I just added enough allowance for this. Right, so I'll be connecting the downside to the upside. I'll be connecting the sleeve. All right, so before I connect my sleeve, I would like to cross check to know the allowance added and to know if everything is okay. All right, so I actually have to reduce it. So in all, I have at the down part the same 5.5.2. All right, because I want the sleeve to have a curve down. All right, I want it to curve down. All right, so at this point now, I've connected my sleeve. All right, so I've connected my sleeve. I'm trying to make I'm trying to make it more pronounced. Okay, so you can see. So from this end, I'll be marking 9 inches. Then I'll still maintain my half inch. I'll mark the same half inch all the way to down, all the way down. All right, then at the end I'll have to connect it, curve it right well. All right, so this is what this part looks like at this point. So once this is done, I'll take the measurements of the sleeve for the down part. I'll be marking 1.5 inches on the downside. All right, so then I'll come up on the shoulder side of the sleeve and mark 2 inches. Okay, that's where the demarcation will start from. Then at this point I will connect it to the broken lines. From this side I'll connect it till I get to the 1.5 inches line I marked on the downside of the sleeve. All right, so I'll connect it this way because the sleeve is actually a tulip sleeve and it has this demarcation. All right, so we have to make these connections at this point. So once this is done, after making the lines pronounced, I will place my tape. Then I'll mark 2.2 inches on this side, 2 inches on this side. Then I will curve the left side of the sleeve. I will curve it all the way down. Then I will curve the other smaller parts. Okay, so I will curve it. All right, so the pen is not actually pronounced. So I'll use a better pen to curve this to make the lines show very well the way I want it. So once this is setting, I'll go ahead and trace the line out and cut it all out. Okay, so this is how I got my sleeve. All right, so I'll just go ahead and cut it all out. I'll wait to cut every part of this out. All right, so once I'm done cutting my sleeve pattern, all right, so I will not go ahead, I will not divide the sides yet. All right, so I'll use this pattern now to place on my main fabric. Remember, it's a sleeve, and that opening is only reflected on the front side of the sleeve. It's not reflecting at the back side. All right, so I'll go ahead and place this pattern on my fabric to get the back side of the sleeve. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get two of it for the two sleeves. Okay, so the back side of the sleeve won't have any opening. All right, so once this is done, I'll go ahead and trace it out, leaving a little bit allowance on the fabric. Okay, I'll be leaving a little bit allowance on the fabric of about half an inch or more. All right, so I'll just take exactly the shape of this pattern paper on my fabric. All right, so, and the fabric, this one I'm getting now is actually the back side of the sleeve. Is actually the other side of the sleeve, not the front side, the side that have an opening. All right, so since this is done, I'll be keeping this aside. Then I'll go ahead and cut my pattern paper. I'll go ahead and cut out all the demarcations and all at this point. All right, so I'll go ahead and cut it out exactly the way I want it to be. All right, so once this is done, all right, so I'll just have to label up. All right, so I'll fold my fabric into two as well, place this part and cut it all out. Then I'll repeat the other side, this for the small side. After folding my fabric into two, I'll place the small side and trim it out. Okay, mind you, remember I'm adding up a little allowance to this of about half an inch or more. Right, I'm not just getting exactly the way the pattern paper is, in as much as I know I added a little allowance to this pattern paper, but yet I'm still adding because I wouldn't want the sleeve to be too tight on the sleeve. I want it to be a bit free and comfortable. All right, so this is it. This is exactly how I got for this part. All right, so once this is setting, I will keep this particular one aside and place my pattern paper for the little side. Meanwhile, I'm indicating the material, the front and the back, since the fabric, the front and the back looks alike. Right, it's a cotton material. So at this point now, I've placed the small part on the fabric folded into two as well. All right, to get exactly what the shape, to get exactly the shape, but with added allowance at this point. Okay, so I remember I will still have to shift my pattern to get some more allowance to the sleeve. All right, so once this is done, I'll go ahead and trim it all out. All right, so once this is done, we also get our lining, what we use to turn this exactly the way we got for the fabric. I'm using the plain black material for as the lining for this. All right, so we'll be getting the lining exactly this way for the front and the back. All right, so after getting the lining, we've gotten our lining, I'll place my fabric on top of a hard stay, all right, to give us that structure, and I will trace my main fabric on the heart stay. All right, I'm actually using they call it here collar gum. I don't know what you call it, what we call it collar gum. All right, so I placed it on my fabric. I placed my fabric on it, and I'm just tracing it right there. Okay, so I'll have to cut for this, and I'll have to cut for the whole sleeve, the heart stay. Okay, so this is exactly what it is. Okay, so I'll actually place a breast foam on this and trace exactly this size. Okay, so this is it. I'll be getting 4 of it. All right, so at this point now I'm done cutting, so I'll just place my breast foam under my sleeve, under each sleeve on the ankara. All right, so I'll just make sure they are actually perfect, facing each other. Then I will start my joining from the downside. Okay, so I will sew from this side all the way to the other end. All right, so this is exactly how I want it. All right, so this breast foam, the reason why I use this breast foam is because it will help in giving the sleeve a good soft structure. Okay, it's actually soft like a shoulder pad. All right, the foam used in a shoulder pad. All right, that's how the texture looks like. All right, so that's the reason why I used it, because I want my sleeve to be firm, and I also want it to be a bit soft. All right, in as much as I know I'm actually using other hard stay there. So at this point I will stop right here. Then this is how it is when I've turned it up. This is how it looks like. All right, for this part. All right, so I'll go ahead and join the small side to this. All right, but meanwhile I'll go ahead and join the lining. All right, the lining carries the heart stay. Is a lining that carries the heart stay, not the main fabric. All right, so the heart stay has a gummy surface. Right, so the gummy surface will be facing the wrong side of the black lining. All right, so I will just take exactly the shape of this. I'll take exactly the shape of this. Then I will sew not really up to the downside. I will stop right here for now. All right, so after this I'll go ahead and join the small part to the sleeve, having the same heart stay under it. All right, so we'll go ahead and join this side. Okay, so I'm actually using 1/2 inch to do this joining. All right, so I won't be using too much. All right, because the sleeve has a lap. All right, that's why I added more allowance when cutting and also adding to my main fabric. All right, so this is it. After joining the lining, this is what I have for now. All right, so this is what it looks like. So I'll go ahead and turn up the lining, but meanwhile I will go ahead and join the small side on the main fabric. All right, so this is the small side. I'll go ahead and join it on my main fabric. All right, so I'll start my joining from the downside, then I will sew till I get to that curve, then I will stitch and stop right there. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So this is what I have. So at this point now I'll turn my fabric and place it with the lining. All right, the joining side will be facing each other. I will use my pin to secure it, then I will pin every side together. All right, so at this point now I'm going to use a pin to secure this side, then I'll also use a pin to secure the other side. All right, each joining will be facing each other because I want it to have a perfect finishing. All right, So I want it to have a perfect look. Right, so at this point now, I will start my joining from this side. All right, I'll start joining my fabric, and mind you, I'll be sewing the three together. All right, so I will sew it all the way down. So I will actually remove my pins wherever I get to any side I place the pin. Right, so at this point now, I'm going to take this curve. All right, I'm going to take this curve, then I will sew and also take off the pins. Okay, so I'm actually doing my making my joining with 1/2 inch. Okay, so I will have to take off my pin at this point because there's a joining right there. Then follow the curve exactly the way the shape is. All right, so I will sew this to the end of the sleeve. All right, so at this point the hardness of the stay is actually depriving me from sewing, so I just have to arrange very well and do the sewing. Okay, so at this point now I've gotten to the end of this, so I'll stitch and all right, so this is how it looks like. Of course, I'm not leaving it this way. I'll go ahead and notch each of the tip. All right, I'll go ahead and notch the tips because it has a curved surface. So all right, so I will notch them so that every part, every side will sit perfectly when I finally get to iron it. All right, so this is exactly how the joining, how I notch my sleeve and my sleeve. All right, so at this point now I'll go ahead and turn my sleeve up. I'll go ahead and turn it all up before I go ahead and iron it. All right, so I'll go ahead and turn it. It's more like having a two sleeve and one piece. All right, because the black is actually more like a sleeve. So at this point now I'll complete the joining of this black. All right, so at this point before completing the joining of the black, right, I'll just go ahead and turn every side up first to know exactly how it is and how perfect it is. So if there's any adjustment, if there's anywhere I need to make corrections, I will make it at once. All right, so this is how the black looks like. All right, so I'll turn it all up and put it right inside the main Ankara sleeve. All right, so before then I'll go ahead and complete the joining of the sleeve. I'll go ahead and complete the joining of the sleeve, then I will stop right at this point. All right, then I'll take off the excess thread right out. Okay, then I will have to place it right inside the Ankara sleeve. Okay, so once I've placed it, I will ensure I do it perfectly. Okay, so after placing this, after placing this and bringing out all the sides and edges all out, I'll go ahead and give it a very nice press. I'll iron it very well. Go ahead and give it a very, very nice press. All right, so this is how it looks like after we are done ironing the sleeve. All right, so at this point now, I'll go ahead and pin this sleeve together and so that we can have it in one piece in top stitch. Okay, so at this point now I'm placing the big side on top of the small side. All right, I'm placing it up and I'll use my pin to just secure it. All right, so this is actually hard because of the stay inside under. All right, so I'm actually using my pin at this point now to secure this. All right, so I'll use my pin to secure it. The reason why I'm securing it is exactly the way I want to join it. Right, so I just want to use my pin to like pin it and see exactly how it will look like after joining. So once that is done, I'll go ahead and run a thread right on top of the pinned side. All right, I will sew it right at the tip not really at the tip, but right on top of the joining side. All right, so I'll do this slowly because of the hard stay. All right, so this sleeve is actually for two sleeves. I'll repeat the same procedure for the second sleeve as well. So while I'm sewing, I'm trying to like open the downside so that I will not mistakenly sew on top. All right, so if you find this video very helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to share my videos. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and turn up your notification button, so whenever I drop new videos, you will get notifications, all right, of the new videos dropped. Right, so this is exactly how the joining of this sleeve looks like. All right, so at this point now, once this is done, I will stitch at the point. All right, at this point I will go ahead and stitch. Of course, I'm not closing all the sides up. I'll be leaving a little allowance on the downside. All right, so this is, we're done with the joining. This is how it looks like. So I'll actually go ahead and attach the armhole side, attach the lining to the armhole side, attach the lining to the fabric on the armhole side, so that I'll be able to trim out any excess lining coming out from that spot. All right, and also having everything in one piece. All right, so I'll go ahead and make sure I arrange my fabric while I sew. All right, so this is exactly what it looks like. Okay, all right, so once this is done, once I get to the end of this, I'll just go ahead and trim out every excess. All right, I'll go ahead and take off my thread and trim out every excess materials on the sleeve. Okay, because I want everything to like sit perfectly on this. All right, so this is actually what I have for this. So at this point now, if this is done and everything is setting, all right, so we'll go ahead to attach it on our dress, on the main dress of our main dress. All right, so we'll go ahead and attach it on our main dress. All right, so this is how it looks like for now. All right, so at this point now, we're going to introduce it to our main dress, but at the same time I'm trying to trim off any excess. All right, so this is how the sleeve looks like. All right, so the joining side will actually start from the shoulder side because we really want the shoulder to be perfect. So the joining of the shoulder will align to the joining of the sleeve on the shoulder. That's the first thing to do when joining this sleeve. Okay, not armhole to armhole at this time, it's shoulder to shoulder first. All right, because we want the joining of the sleeve to really align to the joining of the shoulder. If not, it won't balance well. The sleeve will not sit perfectly on the dress. All right, so the first thing to do is to pin the shoulder of the sleeve to the shoulder of the dress. That's the first thing to do before you can go ahead and pin every other side or join every other side together. All right, so this is exactly what we have. All right, so at this point, joining this sleeve is actually I was so excited joining this sleeve because it's actually fun. All right, so this is the final look of this. This is how it looks like. So after this, we'll go ahead and introduce our beads to the lines of this dress and also the lines of the joining part of the sleeve. Okay, so we've introduced our beads to this. All right, so tell me what you think in the comment section about this dress. Tell me what you think about the sleeve. Tell me what you think about everything pertaining this cloth. All right, see you in my next video. Bye. Bye.